Well, hi again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football. This is the draft preview show, not the prospect show. We're done. We've done all the prospect shows that we can possibly do. Now it's time to talk and discuss the draft itself. The draft is tomorrow evening. Get ready for round one. It is on Thursday. 2 and 3 will be on Friday, and then the rest of the draft will be on Saturday. Joey, it used to be many, many years ago that the draft was all on one day. And I guess even the players themselves, the networks, and everybody involved was going, it's too much. We can't have this for one day. So they'd rather extend it into shorter but more extended periods of time. We'll talk about that a little bit. Let me introduce the cast. Vincent Turner, the founder of 100 Yards of Football. Vincent is with us in the upper right. Below him, the former general manager. He is a personnel director. He's a scout. He's been everything at the upper level as well, also a player. Joey Clinkscales joins us as well. I'm Brian LeBel. Appreciate everybody being here with us tonight. Again, guys, on the draft preview show, Vincent, I'll start with you. As John Madden used to say, the hay is in the barn. It's time for us to get ready to play. There's really nothing else. All the preparation has been done. There may be a trade. There may be some discussions. Absolutely. But in terms of the work that needed to be done, it is done. Now it's how quickly and how fast can you make it move tomorrow evening starting at 8 o'clock Eastern.
When you look at the draft, and this is my favorite part of my life. I've been following the draft ever since, I think, the 1981 draft, Lawrence Taylor, George Rogers. So I'm a guy that's been in tune with it. And I'm seeing it grow from dreams I never thought of to go to prime time, first round for 3 hours. What can you say? But what I'm looking for in the first round tomorrow night, one of the tidbits is that the 1967 draft, the Michigan State Spartans had 4 players drafted in the first 8 selections: Bubba Smith, Clint Jones, Gene Washington, and George Webster. Tomorrow night, will the Ohio State Buckeyes have 4 players drafted in the first 10 selections? And what I've been reading and what I've been watching all across the net and across social media, the Buckeye fans are at another level. And then most of all, as I give it back to you, my king and partner in crime, Mr. Harper LeBel, everyone knows there's 2 things since I've been here on 100 Yards of Football that I take a lot of flack. I'm a University of Memphis fan. I love the Tigers. That's where I'm from. And how about them Cowboys? I love the Dallas Cowboys and what they're going to do with the 12th and the 20th pick. Back to you, Mr. LeBel.
Well, one of the things that we will discuss is that there are several teams, the New York Giants, the New York Jets. You've got the Dallas Cowboys, Cleveland Browns, and Miami Dolphins, and the Kansas City Chiefs all have 2 picks in the first rounds. So that in the first round, excuse me. And then that means that there are going to be plenty of teams that don't have a first round pick at all. Will they want to trade up? Will they have the ability, the assets in order to make that happen? Joey, there's a lot of things that we can discuss. Let me start with you. Anything tomorrow stick out in your mind's eye that I know between me and everybody else, we all know in our knower, there's going to be something that's going to happen. There's going to be a trade. Now, you may not be able to reveal it, but is there anything that you think would be out of the ordinary right now? Here we have less than 24 hours before draft night.
No, to be quite honest with you, there's not a lot that will change today because there are no deals that can be made technically from a trade perspective until tomorrow. The league won't allow it. They don't want to take the pressure off. They don't want to take the attention off what the the Las Vegas Raiders will do with the number 1 pick. So tonight they won't announce any trade. They may do something, but they won't announce it because that will take a little bit of the attention off the Raiders and the league. That first pick being announced is really important, so they don't want to take any attention away from it. So are there things that could happen? Absolutely. I think we talked before we came on air that a lot of times a trade is really formulated a couple of days before, especially with the teams in the top 10. So if there was a deal that was going to happen, the framework of that deal with the team that they may trade with is already in the process of taking place. Now, nothing is in stone, nothing can be finalized, but the framework of that deal, they've already talked about. And if their player is still there and your player is still there, then they will go on with the deal. Now, that being said, starting this year, the time of the draft is 8 minutes per pick instead of 10 minutes, which has been in the past. So anytime that happens, then, you have to be prepared to make a selection a little quicker. And most of the time, you know who you're going to pick going into it if your guy's still there. So the timing is really just for television. And again, just from an inside purposes, a lot of times the pick is already into the commissioner at, let's just say, 4 minutes. But because of TV and commercials and all that, they don't announce the pick until that 10-minute time limit is up. So a lot of times that's already taken place.
Joey, talk about the difference from a strategy standpoint of having 2 less minutes. Will there be more intensity in terms of, you better get this done quickly? I'm not going to wait till the 5-minute or 4-minute mark to make my call. I'm going to call somebody almost more immediately and wait a minute or two just to make sure. I know there are a lot of trades that the value either goes up or down depending on the want. If someone wants to go up maybe 5 spots ahead of you, I know the Falcons many years ago, to get Julio Jones, they jumped up half the board to move up, and they paid a tremendous price for that. If you're only going to move up 1 or 2 slots, it may not be as much. But because we have less time, what do you anticipate in terms of the style that people are used to and waiting till the last minute? Hey, let's do the trade now. Will it start a little bit earlier now that they have less time?
Quite frankly, I don't think it will matter much at all. Because again, like I said earlier, the time frame that's happening, you usually know who you're going to pick. So if you're picking at number 10, let's just say you're picking at number 10, and 3 of your guys are still on the board that you like, you already have an order for those guys. So really, you're just talking amongst the room to say, are we sure we want to do this? I'm going to talk to the security guy to make sure that there's no issues there that we've overlooked. I'm going to talk to the medical guy to make sure that from a health perspective, he's okay to take. There's nothing going on or nothing that may happen. So I'm talking to the psychologist. I'm getting all the information I can. I'm like, okay, so here's the pick. This is the guy. And every team has someone there. So we get that person on the phone and say, and we've already told them to write a name on the card to turn it in. So all that's really, again, the process behind how the draft operates is a pretty seamless thing. So it's
Joey,
rare.
let me interrupt you real quick. But what if number 14 calls you with 2 minutes left to go and says, hey, we're going to give you a first, and maybe a 3rd or a 7th in the following year, and we want to jump in front of you, and you know that team is not really going for who you are going to select. They know that the next team may go for that guy. They want to jump in front. That's what I'm talking about. Someone leapfrogging ahead, taking your spot. You only drop back 2 or 3 places, so your 3 guys, maybe 2 of them will still be on the board.
Well, you talk to the league office and tell them that you're in the middle of a trade, and then they'll extend the times slightly. Okay. So if you're in the middle of a trade, you'll do that. But historically, if it's 2 minutes on the clock and they're still trying to figure out the other team, if they want to make a trade and you're really comfortable with your selection, then you don't get talked off the ledge with your selection. You go ahead and take the player that you want because you have conviction with that player. And you know what? There's another chance to accumulate more draft picks later in the draft. But if you have conviction on a player, like anything, don't get talked off the ledge because somebody calls at the 11th hour wanting to make a deal and they put you in a panic. You shouldn't be panicked when you're making your selection.
No, agree with that. Absolutely. I'm just thinking with less time on the clock, more people will engage earlier at the 4, 5, 7 minute expiration point, because
correct.
And it's new too, so they may be trading the waters a little bit quicker. I'm just not exactly sure how it'll go, but you're asking for change, and change sometimes means that's someone will do things a little bit differently.
Yes, without question. Like I said, I don't think that the 2 minutes will make a big difference because it's only in the first round anyway. And you've had you've had a ton of time to study where you're picking, who potentially might be there when it's your turn to pick. So I don't think it's going to make a big difference. The 2 minutes, the second round is still 7 minutes, and the second and third round is still 7 minutes, and the last rounds, the third day is all 5 minutes. So it's not going to be a big change. I don't think it's going to.
Just a little bit. Vincent, if you're a general manager, if you're a scout, if you're the owner of a team, is this the night that you sleep well, or are you as nervous as the players here going into the draft final minutes before it actually kicks in?
If I'm a general manager, and I know Joy has had a lot of experience with that, but just me personally, I probably wouldn't get no sleep tonight. I probably would be thinking, have I made all the right moves? Have I made all the right instincts about the play I'm going to take? But what happens, as you brought up a good point, Harper, I'm right there to get the play I want, then somebody bring a sweet deal at the last minute. Of course not, I'm not going to get no sleep. I'm going to be excited and ready to go at 8 p.m. tomorrow night when that first round starts. Because I'm always, if I'm a GM, thinking that hopefully in the first round, I'm getting a player that's going to make an enormous impact, or a player that can get us over the top and get to the ultimate prize, which is the Super Bowl. Back to you, Mr. LeBel.
Joey, same question to you. As a general manager, someone who's been in the position that you have been, as a scout, as a former player, as a player, that I only know it that way. I know when I was on a roster, I was going, oh, gosh, I hope they don't take anyone in my position. I hope they go, with a tackle instead of a tight end. You want to protect your job and your security. But what's it like from your perspective? All the deals that are going to be, there's still maybe a dinner or a conversation that you have with someone. But generally speaking, all the work's been done now. It's time for you to actually get a chance to take a breather and smoke a cigar maybe and relax with your team and just wait for the craziness that'll be occurring at 8 o'clock starting tomorrow evening.
Yeah, the hay's in the barn. I mean, so let's just say today. So today we would have given the staff off. So they don't come in the building today. Okay. Myself, the general manager, the owner, we may take one last look at the board and see where, make sure we have everybody exactly how we want them. This is a team project. So we've already discussed this. We're exhausted about talking about, whomever, Peter Woods or Francis Maega. I mean, so we've talked about these guys to exhaustion. Okay. So now we've had a team dinner tonight. We did this early today. So as a staff, we have a team dinner tonight with the coaches and everybody. And, the hay's in the barn. The hay is in the barn. So in the morning, since the draft is not until 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. So in the morning, we are in a position where we come in. Well, I say we, general manager and everybody, we'll probably get there at about 11 or 12. We get the football staff in probably around 2, do a few things, but, the board is still covered. There are no changes that have been made. So we're just in the process of making sure that we've dotted every I, crossed every T on these guys, talking to the medical staff. So when we make the pick, so at the time the draft starts, everybody's in the room. Okay, you have all the scouts. I mean, I may turn around and ask a scout one more question. Usually I know the answer to that question, but I ask the question anyway, just to make sure his answer is the same. Again, we talk to the medical staff. We talk to the security, NFL security, our security. We talk to everybody. So just to make sure that everybody's on the same page, and especially with the doctors, if a kid has had an injury history and we're still interested in taking the player, those are the things that we really discuss before we turn the card in and make the pick. So the hay's in the barn at this point. I mean, trades, there aren't a ton of trades in the first round. Historically, I mean, there may be 4 trades in the first round. There may be some talk about trades, but depending on your conviction on the player, it's like if I'll give you an example. This year, nobody's probably calling the Raiders about a trade. that everybody knows that that's their pick. And if that were Peyton Manning, maybe I don't view this quarterback like I view a Peyton Manning or somebody like that. I would be surprised if they're getting a ton of calls, if any, because the price to move up at this point, and you have to be a quarterback away because you're going to give up a whole lot. Okay, and if you're not a quarterback away from being a really good football team, then what's the purpose of moving up to do that? So when you move up, you have to have a plan for that player. He has to be an impactful player. We'll talk about the Cowboys and some of the other people who have 2 picks who may want to move up, which in my mind probably wouldn't make a whole bunch of sense because, again, they aren't one player away from being a really good football team. And the thing, and I'll just talk about the Cowboys. The thing that the Cowboys have done pretty good in the last few years is draft really well. So that's where you depend on your staff, your scouting department, your personnel department. You draft the right 2 players who can come in and be great and be really, really good, sound football players. You don't have to go. You don't give up 2 picks this year, another pick next year for one player to move up 5 spots, and that player may just be okay. If you have conviction about a couple guys, then you stick with that.
A lot of linebackers, a lot of offensive linemen, tremendous amount of wide receivers are all considered to be first-rounders, guys. My question, Vincent, to you first is because there's a lack of quarterback, really 2, Mendoza and Simpson are the 2 top guys right now, and they're not considered to be 1 and 2. They're not the highest priority. Mendoza could go to the Jets. He may go to the Raiders. He may get traded for. We'll see. Joey, I like your analysis of that. But because there's not a 3 or 4 or 5 quarterback race here, it's going to be more skill position players, in my opinion, a lot more of them. Who's going to help my team? Is that a different phase in the draft for you, or is it still quarterback, the guy that protects the quarterback and the guy that gets the quarterback? Those are going to be our top 3 priorities. Or if the team just needs a fast wide receiver, there's plenty of them out there. What do you think will be the first couple of picks in the draft? Not in terms of, your exact analysis, but where do you think it's going to go, Vincent?
Well, the strength of this draft is edge rushers and wide receivers. We all know probably it's only going to be 2 quarterbacks. But I'm going to go back since I'm a Cowboys fan and I've been following the draft real closely. I know Mr. Clinkscales is a GM, and I don't want to start anything this evening, but I think Caleb Downs would be that type of player that the Cowboys can maybe reach for, that maybe put us in the same, I'm not going to say getting to the Super Bowl, but maybe getting deeper in the playoffs based on what the Cowboys have done in free agency with Rashawn Gary, P.J. Lockett they picked up in the secondary for the Broncos, Jalen Thompson. Then that might be their edge rusher because a lot of people are believing in David Bailey out of Texas Tech, out of Reese. But I think those 2 players, that might be a little bit of a risk being a Cowboys fan. But like I said, I don't want to step on nobody's toes this season, but I know Mr. Clinkscales, he feels like
I'll say this. I think there's an outside chance that Caleb Downs might be there when you pick at 12. Okay. He could be a 10. I don't think there's any way.
Come on, Joey.
I don't think there's any way that David Bailey will make it past 3. Okay. I would be surprised if the Jets didn't take him at 2. Matter of fact, I almost predicted the Jets will probably take Bailey at 2. They could go with Reese, but I'm thinking they're going to take Bailey at number 2. The further I go down, I just don't know if I really don't know if the safety from the safety from Ohio State would probably be the 4th guy from Ohio State taken. I don't think he certainly won't be the 1st, and he won't be the 2nd. I think he'll be probably the 4th guy. He and Lake will be in that neighborhood together.
And you're looking more because of team need, or is it the best available on the board, Joey?
Well, I think it's 2. I think it's team. Well, you always go with best available. Okay, so those boards have to merge. You have team needs over here, and you never want to draft for need. You always want to take the best player because if you turn down the best player for a need, the best player may be ranked here. Your need may be here. You take this player, and this player become an all-pro, and this player is just a guy, and everybody's wondering why you didn't take this guy. Your owner is wondering 2 years from now, 3 years from now, well, why we didn't take this guy? We had an opportunity to take this guy. Okay, those are the decisions that early that cost you your job. But that being said, the draft always turns into a need draft around the third or fourth round. In the first round or two, you take the best available player on the board. But then you start looking at your roster, and you haven't addressed certain positions. So that's where these boards merge. It goes from a best available player to a need draft around the fourth round. Okay, I need a wide receiver. Who's the best wide receiver?
Go ahead, Vincent.
Well, I'm looking at it from this standpoint. I don't want to give anybody else credit, but Nick Saban said that Caleb Downs was the most productive player in this draft. He played in 2 conferences that made plays. I don't think he's going to even come remotely close if we stay on the board at number 12. But see, the Cowboys were 30th in defense last year. 30th. They was 32nd in pass defense. And they had probably the worst safeties in the game. I'm looking at this young man. Father played in the league, Gary. I think his father was your teammate, right, Harper? Gary? Was he still?
No, I wasn't teammates with Gary, but I know Gary was in the league at the same time. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I'm just looking at what made the Cowboys so great back in the days when they was winning the Super Bowls. They had James Washington. They had Thomas Everett. And you know this, Joy. You played wide receiver at Tennessee. You know
I got drafted with Thomas Everett. I know Thomas Everett. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm just looking at. I'm speaking from a fan standpoint. I'm not stepping on.
I'm gonna give you another perspective on that. Keep going. Go ahead.
I'm just looking at we 32nd in pass defense last year. The safeties was our problem. They say Caleb Downs might be one of the most instinctive safeties that's ever came into the league. I went on social media today. He's moving up the draft boards. There's some people say he might go 5. The Giants love him or the receiver Jordan Tyson. But I'm just saying, what were we done in the offseason? We got Rashawn Gary. I'm talking about the Cowboys. Our D-line is looking good now. Kenny Clark, Quentin Williams. Now we got Rashawn Gary. Then I'm looking at we signed some free agent corners in the offseason. Kobe Durant from the Rams. Jalen Thompson, like I said, one of the best free agent pickups from Arizona. Caleb Downs might be that piece on defense. I'm just saying. And he's definitely not going to be there at number 12 for us. Back to you, Mr.
Okay,
Clinkscales, and you, Mr. LeBel. Uh-oh.
We lost you, Joey. So I'll clue in for a second. Joey, we lost you for just a moment, if you don't mind. Start all over, if you don't mind.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Oh, we lost Harper now.
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So let me ask this. So if can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if
Nope, now we can't hear. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Joey, you can back out and come back in.
When there are a couple safeties, there are a couple real safeties in this draft. So if they can get a pass rusher instead of the safety, I think they're going to go with the pass rusher instead of the safety. So I like your scenario, but I think from a value standpoint, the pass rusher will be a lot more valuable than the safety, especially since a pass rusher is a premium position. Okay, and secondly, your owner came out today and said that they are not doing a contract with the receiver until next year.
Correct.
Okay. So I got news for you. That receiver is not showing up to any off-season camps. He is not showing up to training camp, and he's not showing up to training camp until he's got to come and not be fined and losing a cruise season, which is probably somewhere like week 6, week 7. So guess what? I got news for you. That receiver room is going to be diminished So they may take that pick and take the best available receiver, because guess what? Next year, they'll have to make a decision, and they may keep this receiver and get rid of CD Lamb, because what I would tell you is they will not pay two receivers top dollars.
Well,
so you can see that coming a mile away, that this is going to happen to this kid.
Well, if I can speak, I don't want to step on nobody. Sure. Can I have the floor? Okay. Like I said, I've been all on social media today. I saw something that was very interesting. They said that the Cowboys and the Titans are in talks. The Titans are really in love with George Pickens. So I would love for us to move Pickens for draft capital, because you know why? The wide receiver group in this draft is very deep. You're right, Mr. Clinkscales. We can get somebody real good in the second round. We get Downs, we make the trade with Tennessee, but we got some good players in that second round. Malachi Fields from Notre Dame. The young man that this beautiful young man seen play, Mr. Ted Hurst, is moving up the draft. The draft is saying he might be a second rounder. Jeremy Bernard.
Do you have a second round pick? Do you have a second round pick?
Not if you trade it up. If you trade it up from 12 to 4 or 5.
Second round
pick. Can I finish? Okay, we moving with the time. Okay, we moving here. So remember, we got a second number one. And I think that if the Titans bite on it, I think we can get a second pick, even if we have to give up maybe the 20th pick. But the receivers are deep in this draft, very deep. Omar Cooper, Indiana. KC Concepcion, Texas A&M. Denzel Boston, Washington. I hadn't even got to the other, Skylar Bell, UConn. Chris Brazil, University of Tennessee. So I'm not worried about the decision with Pickens, because to be honest, I don't even like Pickens as a player. That's just right. Personally. He put up numbers, but he a head case.
Yeah. So 31 other teams understand this. So nobody's trading for George Pickens. I got news for you. And if they do, because they're going to have to pay him, you think they're going to give up a second round pick for George Pickens?
I'm just saying, I'm hoping and praying that happens tomorrow night. I saw that today, and I was ecstatic. And I'm going to go to bed tonight hoping I wouldn't resign Pickens either. I wouldn't even give him the $10. Like, you know how this goes, Joy. You've been in the game. You've been in the situations like this. Only takes one team to fall in love with him. And he got the numbers from last year. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we don't know, Vincent, but I will ask you this. And I don't want to just stick with the Dallas Cowboys on this pregame show.
Yes, sir.
If the best tackle is still on the board, and the best safety from Ohio State is on the board, and the best edge rusher or the second best edge rusher is on the board when you're up, you're on the clock, which one are you going to take? It's all about who's the best in your mind's eye. And Caleb could be in the top 8, top 6, or only in the top 15, depending on what the Dallas Cowboys, what their board reads at. But I don't know where any of them are going to go. We don't know if Fernando Mendoza is going to go first or second. He might go third. He may not go till later. We all have an idea, but things have changed. One thing I don't argue with it, but the top 32 guys that are listed, usually 28 to 30 of them are picked just about where they were thought. That accuracy, whether you like Mel Kiper and the decisions that he and others make, the way that they look at it is pretty doggone close. I will give more credit than I used to them. Joey, I'll go with you first. Do you think it's going to be a draft where it's going to be pretty close? Someone may go, hey, I wanted the second tackle. We thought that he was better than the first. The third, no, we're going to move him and take the second. We just wanted him. I think we're going to see a lot of discipline being administered to in a way that it's not going to be a real flashy draft. There's not going to be a lot of surprise picks. I just think it's, hey, if the best tackle and the edge rusher, that's going to be a need, because if the best one is still available, I'd take the best guy on the board. I agree with you on that. Your thoughts here, just in terms of, if 2 or 3, if you're picking 6th or 8th, and you've got Caleb Downs on the board, you've got the best edge rusher and the tackle. What are you thinking?
Yeah, if I have I'm always taking the best edge rusher. I'm always going to affect the other team's quarterback.
Is it just because not just because, excuse me, front to back? If my front end, if my down linemen and linebackers, if my front 7 are good enough, the back 4 will reap the benefit of that. Versus
Absolutely.
other people saying the back 4, if I've got safeties and corners that can cover anybody, I could ask grandma to go rush. No one's going to get open. Which philosophy is best for you?
Yeah, you have to affect the quarterback. You have to move the quarterback off the spot. Those are the things that make the secondary better. And that team that we're not going to talk about, the star on the helmet, they couldn't rush the passer. That's why the secondary looked like crap. That's why everybody looked like crap, because they couldn't rush the passer. Now they have the guys they got this year. They are all similar guys. They're guys. Rashawn Gary, he's an older guy. I mean, he's not. We're not going to confuse him with the guy that is an elite pass rush anymore, because we would be disingenuous if we said that. But the other 2 guys are similar. They need help on the edge more so than they need the best safety in the draft. Now, they may take the best safety in the draft, but they have 2 spots that if they stay at 12 and whomever slides to them, and it may be Downs, because if you move up, you lose that second pick right there. So now your next pick, more than likely, is in the 3rd round. Okay, so I don't know if they have the stomach to do that. Okay, they may move up, because again, teams do that. Somebody may have to hustle somebody and say, "Hey, I need your 12th pick, and I'm gonna trade you my best safety on my team." Okay, they may do that. There are a lot of variations of this thing that could happen tomorrow. All that's been done before, so who knows? And just like the Giants, if I'm the Giants, I'm sitting there at number 5 and number 10. I'm not moving up anywhere. I'm getting the best player, number 5, on my board, and either the best player or my best need, who at 10 would be a really good football player, whether that's a tackle, whether that's a linebacker, whether that's whomever. And I wouldn't be afraid to take that running back at number 5. And the reason why I say that is we're kidding ourselves if we think Cam Scatterbo is going to have a long career in New York with the injuries and all that. So if I got a chance to get that player, if he's sitting there at 5, or the safety from Ohio State, if we feel like we can get him a 5 or a 10, then we take him, because we're going to leave with 2 really good starting players in the top 10.
You got top 10. I agree with you. Absolutely. Real quick. And if the Cowboys don't move up, you get 2 guys in the division and you get to pick in front of them. Do you think there's even the slightest chance that New York with that number 10 drops back maybe 2 or 3 and gets another, maybe not another first rounder, but a second and a third rounder? Is that a possibility, to take the first pick at 5 and then go from 10 to maybe 14 or 15, 17, somewhere in that range? You're still going to get a really good player, but you also pick up more assets. Is that something that's a possibility for you?
You don't want to go back too far, but yeah, you could go back. So let's just say if I'm going, the assets have to make sense for me to drop back to 17 or 20. Okay, the assets I'm getting back have to make sense. But I know if I'm going back to 14, I have to have three or 4 guys that I really like on the board.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I do that, then I know I'm going to get one of those guys by moving back, and what I'm getting on the back end, what I'm recouping in draft picks will be really good. Okay, so I'm helping my team. I'm helping my quarterback. And obviously, the Giants, they're going to get a receiver too. They're probably going to get one pretty high, because their best receiver probably won't be back until mid-season from the injury he had, the Achilles or ACL, whatever he hurt last year. So,
that's
they're in the market for
you drop back and get another asset. If you get another pick, and with Vincent being dead on, there's so many wide receivers that you may not get the 1, 2, 3, or 4th best receiver, but you may get the 5th and get that tackle that you were looking to get if you drop back a little. So many different ways of looking at this. Joey,
but it No. It depends on how you have that receiver room done. And again, you don't draft for need at that point. You draft the best available player. Now, in the second or third round, when you realize, okay, maybe I need a receiver, who's there? Or you know what? Maybe I trade somebody, because guess what? A.J. Brown will not start the season in Philly. He's probably going to be a Patriot, but because of his contract, he will be a June 1st cut. There are other players like that. So these are deals that are made during the draft. They won't affect the draft from a draft pick perspective, but there'll be other disgruntled players that will want to move, and the draft day will be an opportunity for those guys to move, especially if their contracts are enticing enough to for another team to go get.
Yeah, interesting. I appreciate the perspective. All right, guys, I'm going to ask you each, between the Raiders being on the clock at pick number 1 and the Seahawks, your Super Bowl champions, picking dead last in the first round at number 32. Are there any surprises in your opinion? A team that has 2 picks, the Buffalo Bills getting eliminated from the playoffs as early as they did, the Jets and their history in the draft. Vincent, I'll start with you. You've already mentioned the Cowboys, but is there any other team? Is Kansas City picking twice and having 1 pick as early as number 9? Is that not a surprise to the league?
Very big surprise. And I think Kansas City is going to get some players that's going to really help what they're trying to do there. I think looking at them, they got to get somebody that's going to fill in for Chris Jones. He's getting old in the tooth. Then most of all, they kind of felt they needed a running back. Shout out to the 901, Mr. Kenneth Walker, for getting paid Super Bowl MVP. Don't get upset. But he's going to be running that ball in Kansas City, and I think the Chiefs offense is going to roll. Even though they let Trent McDuffie go into free agency, like I said, their eyes on the young man out of the University of Tennessee to fill that spot. His name is Colton Hood, local Atlanta guy out of Eagle Landing. So the Chiefs are going to be setting good. But the team I want to see that's got 2 picks, what are the Cleveland Browns going to do? Is Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson going to be the starting quarterback? And what they going to do with 2 picks in the first round? Back to you, Mr. LeBel. And before I let you back, since we're here in Atlanta, rumors are that Kyle Pitts is going to be moved, and the Chiefs are really in love with him. Back to you, Mr. LeBel.
Thank you for that update. Appreciate it. If the trade occurs, then Falcons will get what? A 4th? A 3rd? They need assets. They need something. I don't know what they're going to get for them. Joey, your thoughts here. Kansas City, Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, Detroit, all had interesting years. Minnesota, they're all picking the middle of the pack. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think the Chiefs will certainly get a corner. I'm not sure it'll be Colton Hood. I think it'll more likely be the kid from LSU, Delane, if he's sitting there at 9. I think they need a pass rusher, an edge guy. I think they need a receiver for sure, because offensively they weren't as explosive as they were a few years ago. So I think that's always an option. And again, their offensive line. I mean, you have a quarterback that's who'll be coming off a ACL. So you have to be able to protect the quarterback. So I think those are all things that are pressing needs for the Chiefs. I think the Buccaneers will go after a pass rusher, maybe the kid from Messidor, the kid from Miami. I think he'll be in play for those guys. Who else did we mention? The Falcons have the Rams will get a backup quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams didn't take the Alabama kid. If the Steelers pass on him at 21, I would almost bet money that either Arizona will try to move back up, although I think he's going to go in the first round, but I think Arizona will try to move back in the first round to get the quarterback, or I think the Rams would take him, the kid from Mount Simpson. So I think all those kind of things are in play. But what I was about to say with the Falcons really have a major decision to make, and not with Kyle Pitts. They have a major decision to make with Pierce, because that issue he's in is not going to turn out well, I don't think, and that's going to be problematic from a pass rush perspective. So, will they try to do something to obtain another pass rusher, despite everything else they need? Will they have to spend assets on something they thought they had already solved?
for saying that they are never going to give up the farm to do something and they're going to be cap friendly and all that. If there's a team that's violated their own rule, as much as the Falcons have in terms of, they're already in trouble. They're in cap trouble. They don't have any money. And then you get a kid in trouble. And then having to go replace him with no assets. It's just a very interesting conglomeration there that they have in Atlanta. But be that as it may, final thoughts, Vincent. We're gonna wrap up our pregame or pre-draft show. Do that now, and then let everybody know that tomorrow night at 8:00 Eastern on Thursday, that's when the draft occurs, and we'll be live the whole first round, and we will be talking from end to end. We will go over so many different things. And Joey, I think you and I will both have to talk about the Dallas Cowboys a little bit longer than just when they're on the clock tomorrow. But Vincent, final thoughts here before we wrap up today.
Looking forward to our show tomorrow evening. I'd like to say give special thanks out to the crew again, as made as possible, to you, Mr. Harper LeBel, Joey Clinkscales, Jeremiah Long, Mr. Brian LeBel, Mr. Logan Landers, Steve Travers, Mr. Bob Case, and Ronnie Keebler. Thank you. It's a dream come true that I'll be on tomorrow night with two gentlemen that played in the league, know the ins and outs, and was drafted. That's very special to me. And all I can say is this, Harper, what I love about you, you love to throw those little shots. I'm a Cowboys fan, so it don't matter, baby, because we are going to talk about the 12th and 20th pick. And by the way, Mr. Clinkscales, you kind of disrespecting Rashad Gary a little bit. A couple of seasons, he did have 10 sacks, I think. And he was a Pro Bowl player to DN twice. So I'm pretty confident that he can fill that void for us to still move up and get Caleb Downs. Y'all have a blessed evening. Back to you, Mr. LeBel.
All right, Joey, final thoughts from you before we head out. And tomorrow we'll be busy. You get to take the rest of the night off, and for obvious reasons, enjoy a cigar, get a good night's sleep, and then tomorrow we'll be wire to wire with the draft.
Well, I'll just say this. Vincent certainly is a Cowboy fan because he has that same Cowboy optimism that, they've had for the last 30 plus years. So, hey, he is a true Cowboy fan. And I wish him luck with that. I wish him luck.
How's that gone for him here last?
Yeah, how's that going for you? Yeah, that's right.
But it's all right. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you being a part of the show here. This has been our draft pregame pre-coverage show. Tomorrow night is the draft, and we are looking forward to it. As Joey has said, the hay is in the barn. Everybody's done all the work that they're going to. It's just a matter of it taking place, and it'll start at 8:01. And you'll see the commissioner come out, and with the first pick in the 2026 draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select, and we'll go from there. It'll be in Pittsburgh, and there'll be about 250,000 people. That is just an amazing number to me. Detroit and Philadelphia and Green Bay, all the other cities that have hosted and really turned this draft into a spectacle. And people get to wear the jerseys of their team, and they cheer at that one point when their team is on the clock. And there are so many different ways where the draft has grown from the theater that it was in, even when it was just in this boardroom in New York where Pete Rozelle was on a dry erase board. But now there's fanfare and so many different things, and we'll be a part of it tomorrow. So if you watch it on the 4-letter network, but turn the sound down and pay attention to us, we would greatly appreciate it. So thank you for tuning in. Again, this has been 100 Yards of Football, our draft show for 2026 with Vincent Turner, Joey Clinkscales. I'm Harper LeBel saying thank you.